Good evening, everyone. Today we have the honor of speaking with Dr. Fahed al-Shamli, a distinguished Kuwaiti security and strategic expert, political analysis, and retired colonel with over 25 years of experience in the Kuwaiti Army. Dr. al-Shamli holds a PhD in strategic planning to combat terrorism, along with several advanced degrees in public administration, military service, and information systems management from his prestigious universities in the United States, the United Kingdom, and Kuwait. He has played pivotal roles in both civil and military planning projects, served as a security expert at the United Nations in Kuwait, and continues to contribute as a lecturer in military and academic institutions globally. We look forward to discussing his insights in the future of Kuwait and its role on the global stage. Good evening, Dr. Fahed.
Good evening to you.
First question. Dr. Fahed, you have participated in many security and strategic projects at the international and regional levels. How do you believe that your expertise in strategic planning and counterterrorism can influence Kuwait's approach to current and future challenges?
This question is about. Okay, I got it. I don't have the sequence of the question, but regarding the issue of Kuwait fighting terrorism, I think Kuwait played a good role. We participated with the United States on many coalitions. The first coalition started 1990 on Desert Shield. Then it started 1991, Desert Storm. Then we were participated with the United States, and I was in Tampa at that time, 2002, in Enduring Freedom for Afghanistan freedom. Then we participated on Iraqi freedom, 2003. In fact, the Kuwaiti signed, or the Kuwait government signed all the agreement and the protocol of fighting terrorism. Not only fighting terrorism, fighting the funding of terrorism, fighting the ideology of terrorism. And that's very, very important issue. We suffered from extremism and terrorism. We suffered from Al-Qaeda. We suffered from Daesh. But I think the Kuwait were able to contain all this. And we started a media campaign among the people. And Kuwait were very successful, honestly, on fighting terrorism.
I see. So given your extensive academic and military background, what priorities do you believe should be on the top of Kuwait's agenda to address both domestic and regional challenges?
Challenges, limitations, threat is part of the life of any state, either a mega state or a tiny state. Regarding Kuwait issue, I think the GCC having the same challenges and limitations. One of these challenges, internal challenges, is corruption. And fighting corruption, I think Kuwait and many other GCC countries were able to fight it, honestly. Yes, we have some corruptions, but also we have penalty against that. Judges, businessmen, people from royal family, they are now in jail, because proven that they were involved in corruption operations. And I think that is gain the confidence and the trust and build a mutual trust between the Kuwaiti government and the Kuwaiti society. People say yes. And I think this is one of the major problems in all Middle East, not only in Kuwait suffering from that corruption process, but the first step of success is to say, yes, I have this problem and I have a process to fix this problem. In Kuwait and most GCC, I think in Saudi Arabia, everybody knows about the Ritz, Hilton, the Ritz Hotel, where they gather all people corrupted and they investigate them, and they went through an interrogation process for that. Same thing is happening in Kuwait, but through legal process. That's why we have the deputy prime minister is in jail now. The former minister of interior is in jail now. Many big businessmen, they are in jail now. This is one, the corruption. The second corruption is drugs. The second challenge is drugs, honestly. We're trying to fight the drugs that comes from Iran and that comes from Iraq. Definitely, Iraq became the base of the Iranian drugs that transferred to Iraq, and from Iraq moved to Kuwait. I think we made a very good success on this issue. But we have a small problem on the maritime drugs trafficking. So the new way of smugglers, they go and they drop the drugs in the sea, and they send for their counterpart in Kuwait their grid coordinates, and they come and they pick it up. And I think every day we discover a new style of smuggling. And I think the Kuwaiti are, in fact, all the GCC doing that. Hezbollah is involved in drug trafficking and manufacturing. Iran, the Revolutionary Guard, they are involved in this issue. And they put two main stations. They put Jordan to go through Saudi Arabia, and they picked Iraq, south of Iraq, Basra city, to go through Kuwait. This is one issue. The third challenge is that we might fight in Kuwait security domestic is trying to fight extremism through sectarianism. Everybody said he's representing God. So the best way is to let the people know that they are under the law, all of them, under the states, under the canopy of the state. And I think the Kuwaiti people are well educated on that, and they know that. Fourth challenges is the balance of the inhabitant, the balance between Kuwaiti and foreign laborers. Kuwait population is 33% from the whole 4.5 million. 67% are foreign laborers. I think this balance needs to be adjusted a little bit. That is on the domestic issue. On regional issue, we consider Iran as a serious, not challenge, as a serious threat. Iranian missile program is a serious threat. UAVs or unmanned aircraft is a serious threat for us. We saw the effect that what is happening between Russia and Ukraine, what is happening between Iran and Israel. We saw it by our eyes, and that has created really a big worry about that. The Iranian nuclear program also, it's really creating fears for our environment. Most of the Iranian nuclear reactors close to the Arabian Gulf, and they are built in an area vulnerable against earthquakes. So if they have earthquakes more than 6 magnitude, we will be in a big trouble, because the nuclear waste will infiltrate, goes to the Arabian Gulf. In 12 hours, this pollution will be in our shores. And that will affect drinking water, marine life, and everything regarding environment. Iran is considered, honestly, a threat because of their attitude, political attitude, sectarian attitude, and the conflict between the Iranian and the Israeli right now make the people worry of the impact of indirect results that comes from bombing from each parties. So we are on our toes because that we want it to stop, so will not affect Kuwait. One of the regional also is terrorism, foreign terrorism. This is one of the challenges and the threat. So I think GCC made a special list about the movement of potential terrorist personnel. So they are now sharing this kind of information among a close circle in the GCC. And that is a good step, cooperation between all these countries.
I see. So you have worked as a strategic and security expert and a political analyst for international media. How do you see the role of media and public opinion shaping the political landscape of Kuwait today?
That's a very good answer. Public media, mass communication is not affecting the Kuwaiti life. It's affecting the whole world. If you go, you will see a black campaign, you will see negative campaign, even in the state now, the presidential election. There are a lot of campaigns. Some of it true, some of it using the AI, artificial intelligence, and that is honestly, how can I say it, could change the reality. And people always looking for the truth. That is, the AI, the mass communication, could give an impression, untrue impression. In mass communication, we have the mass communication protocol and law against people who committed the crime of negative and black campaign. Kuwait is in processing, and the GCC also, in processing to make a unified protocol to reduce this kind of negative campaign and black campaign. Definitely, they are targeting the youths like you. Definitely, they are trying to shake the society and the strength of the society, and it is working sometimes when they use sectarian issue, when they use tribal issue, when they use corruptions issue. It's happening. Add to that, using the AI, artificial intelligence, on changing the truth. So you will see a person, he's talking, but it's not his word. And that is to create a big chaos. So we must be following these kind of social media. It's a booming technology, honestly. It's a booming technology. And what we need to do also, to try to enlighten and educate our children in the school. We have to build a curriculum to teach them how they deal with social media, mass communication from school. So the minute he is reaching 15 or he'll be in the secondary school, at least he knows and he have a fruitful knowledge of how to deal with this kind of booming technology.
I see. Your academic credentials span throughout institutions in the United Kingdom and the United States and Qatar. How has this diverse education shaped your vision for Kuwait's future in terms of international relations and governance?
In fact, one of the success story is happening now. I'm now having a dialogue with you. You are somewhere in Virginia or Washington, D.C., and I am in Kuwait, and we're talking about strategic knowledge, we talk about security, and this is one of the main success that is on my personal level. Second, when you go and invited by foreign embassies and trying to establish a good relationship with ambassadors, with commercial attaches, that is also could be a good benefit. Knowing the strategy behind that will make things easy, at least for me, and to persuade my other partner on the other side with what is my demand, what is my need, what is my capability to help him to have a bridge of connection. I think with this knowledge, when you deal with 56 high foreign officer in the United States from different countries, you understand their attitude, their policies, their customs, their traditions, and their way of decision making. That is make easy to me to give a good advice to my government, to my superiors, and even to my listener or to my readers. And I think this is my role. My role, I see myself as an advisor for the government and the cabinet, and as an enlightening the society through the social media. That is, I think, the best role I should do right now.
See. So as we know, the upcoming 2024 U.S. presidential election is approaching. What are your expectations regarding the potential outcomes and how they might impact Kuwait and the broader Gulf or Khalij region?
Honestly, Dean, the whole world is following the presidential election. It's not only Kuwait, it's not GCC, even a tiny small country in somewhere in dark Africa, they are watching the presidential election. And this presidential election has impact not only in many countries, but it has an impact on the EU, it has impact on the Arab-Israeli conflict, it will have an impact between Ukraine and Russia. And it's really a funny coincidence that is who will decide or will influence your country is not the next president. It is the ordinary American citizen who will go to the ballot and put his paper. So it is purely an American decision, and it's a decision of the American voters. But definitely we're trying to compare between the two agendas, between the Republican agenda and the Democratic agenda. I can say on myself and on behalf of my society, that is, we are not a fans of Democratic agenda. We are not a fans of especially of transgender, of promoting these kind of policies, trying to impose it on the people. We are not fans of that. We are fans of a free economy, yes. Trade, exchange, yes. We think Donald Trump, with his experience, and he learned from his experience, being a former president of the United States, the 45th president of the United States, could have a point of agreement. We might not agree with what he is putting, but at least there is some common agreement, mutual, what we call it in international relations, mutual agreement between the United States and GCC, if I may say. So we are we are fans of the Republican policies. We are fans of President Trump policies, with one objection on how he managed the Israeli and Palestinian conflict. We suppose he needs to be a little bit more dynamic, a little bit more creator of having the two-state solution. Palestinians, independent Palestinian state on the border of 1967, and an Israeli state.
See, in your role as liaison officer in the U.S. Military Command in Tampa, you were involved in counterterrorism and humanitarian efforts. How do you see the future of U.S.-Kuwaiti relationships, especially in the context of the changing global dynamics?
I think the Kuwaiti very interested in having more ties with the United States. And they created what they call it the military diplomacy, or the armament diplomacy. Most of our armament, with billions of dollars, is and the deals done on this canopy, diplomatic armament policy. We have a great program with them. They call it Foreign Military Sales, FMS. And that has created very huge numbers of thousands to the American jobs. And it's really benefiting the American economy, at least from our side. And we are benefiting from the technology, benefiting from the armament, and benefiting from having a good diplomatic ties. with the United States. Also, Kuwait has a future fund, and some of them, most of the future fund, which is reached to $1 trillion, were put in United States to invest in United States. So it is a mutual interest between Kuwait and the United States. What I think we need more understanding for the Arab-Israeli conflict. This is a complicated process, and putting the allies and the friends of the United States in the region in some embarrassing mood when they see human rights violation by the Israelis, when they see committed crimes, war crimes by the evidence of United Nations. They said there is a war crimes has happened and has took place in Gaza between the Israeli and the Palestinian. Also, we really not agree, 100% not agree with what was President Obama policies. He was promoting Arab Spring. Look what's happened to the countries that hit by the Arab Spring. It's a failing states. It's a failing countries. The economy is diminished. Civil war. So definitely, we are not agreeing what was the President Obama is promoting, and that is what we think that's the shadow of Obama is now promoting or affecting the Kamala Harris, the new presidential nominee for the Democratic Party. So we see it's an Obama policies, and Obama policies, it's not going to work in our region.
I see. As someone who lectured in both military colleges and academic institutions, what lessons from your experience do you believe Kuwait can adopt in terms of national defense and strategic planning?
I think, first of all, we have to do a partnership with the United States and the Security Council. And we did. We had something called SOFA, Status of Foreign Agreement Forces, or Status of Foreign Forces Agreement, SOFA. We need to improve this so we'll be more allied, like having a seat with the NATO, non-NATO alliance. That is, Kuwait must work for this. We have an embassy for NATO or a station for NATO in Kuwait. We are working in that. What we need also is to have somebody could listen to the Kuwaitis and to the GCC about the Iranian policies. We feel United States under a democratic leadership is lean with Iran, is soft with Iran. That's why we saw the Iranian regime, not the Iranian people. That's why what we saw, the Iranian regime is making points and he's collecting point against the United States, against our region in nuclear capabilities. Having a nuclear capabilities will put the area in a race in a race of armament, and sometimes reach to the nuclear armament. We don't want to see that, because the reason why, because our neighbor, Iran, their decision-making process is not built on a political mood. It was built in ideological mood. He might fire these kind of nuclear bombs and affecting people under the words of jihad. Well, in politics, there is no such word called jihad. In politics, there is a word called communication, reduce tension, have options. But the political ideology of the Iranian regime is not based on the hand of the executive branch or the Iranian president. No, it is manipulated by the Ayatollah, the Supreme Commander, and the Revolutionary Guard. And they are not part of the Iranian government. So they are working in a separate identity. And that is what scares us, because we feel this kind of capabilities needs to be under the executive branch, under the president, under the Minister of Defense, not under a religious scholar or a Revolutionary Guard helping and supporting a militia in 3 or 4 Arab countries.
I agree. How do you view the evolving relationships between Kuwait and global powers such as the US, China, and Russia in the light of the shifting geopolitical landscape?
During the Cold War era, the GCC countries and some Arab countries, they don't have a relationship with the former Soviet Union. Kuwait, they have a diplomatic relationship with former Soviet Union. Now, because of Obama's policies, and before that, Clinton policies, to deal with the area, the GCC, the Saudis, the Kuwaiti, the Emirati, is trying to explore more cooperation with China. They look on the eye of suspicious of the American role, especially when it's the chair of the presidency is a democratic chair. We feel the Republican is having more understanding for our area, for our political ideology, for our political attitude, for our concerns. We feel the Republican Party or the Republican management could handle our relationship with a better understanding more than the democratic process. Add to that history and evidence. Look to the policies of former President Obama. What happened to the Arab world? Look to if you take a look of Obama's diaries and Obama's book, Promised Land, you could see his way of thinking and how he was dealing with the rulers and the kings and princes of this region. And also, if you read Hillary Clinton's book, Hard Choices, you could know the attitude and the conspiracy that's been tailoring against our region. And I think they failed to do that because the GCC and the Kuwaiti relied on their own people. And that is the success, while other countries, they went and drift with the current under the name of justice, freedom, freedom of choice, and it became a tornado hit these countries. Now these countries are going down and going down. Hopefully they will recover from that. So in making the story short, we don't trust any democratic president, honestly. We feel it's easy, it is suitable to communicate with a Republican president much better than having a democratic president. We feel Kamala Harris will not have a deep understanding for our region, and even the team or the staff of management, we feel a little bit worried from that because of we have Obama experience, view and vision to the area, and look to the area right now. It's shattered. Look to the Syrian, look to the Lebanese, look to the Egyptians, look to the Yemenis, look to the Tunisian. It's shattered country. They are now trying to help each other and to go to reach the level of 2011, not 2024.
Dr. Fahed, it has been a privilege speaking with you today. Your insights and expertise have provided us with a deeper understanding of the challenges and opportunities facing Kuwait and the broader region. Thank you for sharing your experiences and vision with us. We wish you continued success in all of your endeavors and look forward to seeing the positive impact of your contributions on the global stage. Once again, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Dean. Thank you for having me, and thank you for your good efforts and good understanding, really. Thank you for your pause look on this. Many thanks to you.
Thank you.